Hello, Top 10 Rivalry followers. It's time again for K. College K. We are going to get right down to the nitty gritty. Dave, how are you doing, my good friend?
Great, doing great.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your travels a little bit here shortly, but first, let's talk about a couple of scoreboard items. Was there anything that stood out to you this weekend in college baseball?
There's some good stuff going on for sure. I mean, I'm looking at top 25 here, and some teams had a really good week. Some teams had a really tough week. This is all where they're doing non-conference midweek stuff and some non-conference weekend stuff. And every once in a while, one of these non-conference teams sneaks up and bites somebody. And you had Wake Forest lose to UNC Greensboro. You had LSU lose to Stony Brook. Others, let's see, Vanderbilt lost to Gonzaga and to Dayton. Some top 10 teams, having a little bit of a struggle. Clemson lost to Kennesaw State. One that stood up off the page to me was that TCU played UCLA. It's a top 20 matchup, and TCU swept them. That's
Hmm.
huge.
Yeah, I saw that. Couple of high scoring games too. I looked at Bama put up on Friday, put up two touchdowns, right? 14 to 2. Texas A&M took on Wagner and beat them 17 to 2. Vanderbilt took it to Gonzaga 12 to 2. Penn State 14 to 2 over Stanford. Oregon 17 to 3 over Lafayette. Uh, Kennesee or Kennesaw, however you say that correctly, 18 to 1 over Clemson. NC State was a football score. NC State against Hawaii 17 to 2. So I thought that those were interesting scores just because even though we're still early in the season, it's unique to see such high score. Like I was very surprised that Oregon put up 17 against Lafayette and that Clemson only scored one and got beat 18 to 1.
Well, look at Texas Tech. They played 5 games. They scored, on my math's right, 81 runs in 5 games.
Yeah.
13 to 1, 10 to 4, 32 to 5, 20 to 4, 16 to 5. That's crazy. And we saw Texas Tech in Arlington before that during that tournament, and actually played them real tough. That's a real good team. TJ Pompey there is their shortstop freshman. I guess he's been hitting the cover off the ball. So I guess we get a little bit of a thank you for getting him going when we were in Arlington the week before.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of things I thought saw interesting too, Dave. I'm going to call it the on the move section. So obviously, Dave and I are trying to cover everything. JUCO doesn't matter the conference. But I looked up some top 25, looked up D1 top 25. Tennessee is 7-1. They're currently now in eighth overall. They went from 9 to 8. Vandy is 5-3. They're now 9. They went from 6 to 9. Duke is 7-0. Bama is 8-0. They went from 17 to 16. And then huge schools here, Dave. You ready for this? Campbell is 6-1. They're ranked 21, and they weren't ranked last week. Auburn 6-1, ranked 23, weren't ranked last week. And then this like school, everybody talks about this school. Dallas Baptist is 7-0.
This is a good school. They got a good
I
baseball
know,
team.
but that's not what you think of, when you think of,
No.
but they're ranked 25. They weren't ranked before. So they're 7-0.
Well, I don't know if you saw it too. East Carolina played North Carolina in a series and just beat the crap out of each other 3 games, and East Carolina took 2 of them. So some good baseball there. From what I gather, that last game was an instant classic. Pulled out in the end.
Yeah. And then Sunday, I don't know if you noticed on Sunday, Duke scored 20 against Northwestern. So Duke is trying to say, hey, we like being in the top 20, leave us here.
Duke's playing well.
Yeah, they're playing really, really well right now. So that's it doesn't surprise me, but it again, there's a lot there's a lot of runs being scored right now. So That being said, uh, you were in Arlington and you were in Knoxville this last couple weeks. Talk to me about your experiences in both the Globe Live for the tourney, and talk to me about what it was like being in Knoxville.
Life, Major League Stadium, really nice stadium for college players. I mean, we had for at least one of those games, we had the lower bowl pretty full. I don't know what the official attendance was, but it was pretty full and it was pretty orange for the Oklahoma game. So, and that was a Saturday night prime time. You know what? Those games in Oklahoma, in Arlington, for whatever reason, it was pitching changes. It was um, whatever, but two back-to-back 4-hour games. That was tough. Tough to keep concentrated on that. So, but we came out of there with 2 wins. Saw 3 really good teams. Baylor gave us a bit of a fight at the beginning. Oklahoma, we just couldn't get the bats going, and we beat Tennessee Tech. That was a really good top 20 win. So, and I saw, I mentioned the shortstop for Texas Tech, really good young player. I really liked the second baseman. I think it was from Oklahoma as a freshman. Really played well. Actually, Baylor, I think that kid was from. Anyways, really good baseball, really fun atmosphere. And then rolled on over to Knoxville to follow the Volunteers back home for 5 straight home games. And, East Tennessee and U Albany for 3 games.
Okay.
So it was a fun week. You know what? The takeaways from that probably are, 4 games in 5 days, between 2 cities is kind of tough on a college team. That's why, at least the standard line, why that UNC Asheville game was only a 3-2 win. We couldn't get the bats going. Everybody was a little bit from traveling. So, but we pulled out a win there, and then just went ahead and spanked East Tennessee 16-0. And then beat Albany 3 games in a row. The first game, Albany gave us all we could handle. Used up a lot of their good pitching, and then it was kind of a struggle for them the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on the Tennessee side, you know what? Nate Sneak transfer from Wichita State hit 101 on the gun today against High Point, hit 101. He came in the game. His warm-up pitches were probably 95 plus. I think he struck the first guy out on 3 or 4 pitches, and they were all 99 to 101. It's crazy. So that was a good takeaway. He's really fun to watch. And then Tavares Tears is on a roll. He is spanking baseballs all over the field. He's kind of had a reserve role on that team for the last couple of years behind some pretty good players, and now he gets to kind of get the stage to himself. So,
so the did you we might need to mention another player or two. Was there anything that really hit kind of home for you this last week for Tennessee?
Yeah, there's a bunch of freshman pitchers on that team, position players too. I got to talk about one of those, but I think 4 or 5 freshman pitchers made their debut, my son included. And for a freshman to come out and play for an SEC school, even during non-conference play, is a big deal. And he's gotten 4.1 innings so far and 5 strikeouts. So obviously still work in process, but for one of the youngest kids on the team and breaking into the SEC, a darn good start. Very proud of him. And then, the other guys were good too. Dylan Loy, a lefty from the Knoxville area, really impressive, really good. Luke Payne got an appearance. Braden Sharp got an appearance. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Matthew Dallas pitched today. He pitched last week too. 6'5" lefty, down most of the fall, rehabbing an injury. He's just getting lengthened out here, but 6'5" lefty coming at you with a decent fastball and real good whatever it is, changeup or slider. Really tough on left-handed batter. And then last person I'm going to mention is Dean Curley from SoCal. We showed an at-bat when I was on my live last week, and he came in. He was also nursing a hamstring injury while we were in Arlington, but they got him in the lineup back in Knoxville, and I think he went, I don't know, 7 for 12 or something crazy. A couple of 3-run home runs. Another freshman making an impact at shortstop, which is another really hard position to crack.
I was just gonna say that's a hard position to crack. So, well, you definitely are. You got your finger on the pulse there. I didn't do as much of research on individuals that I wanted to this week, but I definitely can talk about. I can definitely talk about different um, schedules and things like that coming up. But yeah, it's I'm very impressed with these young kids. And one of the things that you and I have both talked about that's important is you play fundamental baseball, right? And it's just that simple. Well, a lot of these kids are learning that if you play fundamental baseball, you can do a lot of damage, right? If you don't, you're gonna struggle. So
100%. And, it comes down to the fact that you got to go out there and make the plays you're supposed to make and earn your at bats. And then when you get into the batter's box, have good at bat accounts and,
yeah,
some barrels on baseballs. I was looking at one other thing too here online, and it's a list of players so far in college baseball that have cracked 97 miles an hour or more. There's 23 of them.
wow.
Arkansas's got 3. That's just embarrassing. They've got 3 guys that are throwing baseballs over 97, 98 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Tennessee has 3 as well, which is really awesome. Marcus Phillips, who's a transfer, is probably 95, 97. They show he's hitting 97. AJ Russell, who is our Friday starter, last time I saw him, he was 96, 98. And then the guy I mentioned earlier, Nate Snead, just nasty as heck, coming at you 97 to 100. I think they said it was low 90. That's insane.
yes. Well, it's crazy how much these kids are throwing that type of heat. The only thing that concerns me about that, Dave, I love it, but the only thing that concerns me about that is I think kids are so worried right now about velocity and exit velo and things like that, that we're starting to see. You and I had conversations about this offline and online over the last several months, that we see guys finally make it to the show, make their dream happen, and then they're out with Tommy John surgery in their second year or third year, right? So they just got to make sure that they're conditioning well enough.
Yeah. A couple of thoughts on that. I mean, you had Hagen Smith here. That was a big story last week. I think which is phenomenal. And you want to give the kid his kudos for that.
Mhm.
As a parent, I think, why are we throwing kids 6 innings when it's the second week of non-conference play? It seems like more workload than is necessary right now. But that's why I'm not a coach. So that one, that raises an eyebrow. I know the pitching that I watched all week, I didn't watch a guy go more than about 4 innings.
Yeah.
And more than about 60 pitches, which I think is reasonable for this time of year. You want them at their best in May and June. Worry
Yeah.
about so much, doesn't matter. A lot of people are just sorting things out right now. So And the other thing too is that these guys are throwing hard. I haven't looked at all their stats. Hopefully their strike to pitch ratio is pretty good, but I mean, throwing it hard doesn't matter if you can't get guys out and you're filling the bases up. So,
Yeah, I remember
so
I remember when I was in high school. I actually in elementary school when I was in Little League, I pitched against a guy named John. Okay, I won't give you his whole name, but I pitched against a guy named John. And John, as a little leaguer, threw really hard. In high school, he went to a rival high school of mine. We had one major rival and a second rival. Well, he was warming up, he's a year older than me. He was warming up in the bullpen and he was topping, and this is in 1993, right? He's topping 95, 96 miles an hour in the bullpen. And you got scouts with their radar guns out there checking things out, right? Um, and I'm just warming up normal, right? And nobody's paying attention to what I'm doing. They don't care. And so, that being said, John goes out and he ends up striking out like 7 or 8 guys in a game against us, but he walked like 6 because he was all over the place. He wasn't focused on his control, he was focused on his velocity and showing the scouts what he can do. And I think we ended up winning that game. I think I only pitched 3 or 4 innings, but um, he pitched a lot more, but struggled and took the loss.
yeah, I think that's something that the younger guys struggle with more. I think once you get to college, if your coaches are on top of things, they're going to have you more focused on getting outs than impressing anybody. But in high school, everybody's younger, less mature, and that's what you get attention for. That's what you get Instagram posts for from all the travel organizations that really don't really know what they're talking about. So
Yep.
it's all about getting out and away from velo, and it's turning toward guys that have 2 and 3 and 4 pitches and can get you out in numerous different ways.
Yep. 100%.
It's a coach's dream, though. Come on, that you've got somebody in your bullpen if your team's in a little bit of trouble that can come out and just blow guys away, even if it's just for 1 or 2 batters. It's a coach's dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It is, but it's also the coach's nightmare too when he's not having the control, right? So, all right, Dave, we got a lot of fun baseball. Last topic we're going to talk about. We got a lot of fun baseball coming up this weekend. Is there any series that you're eyeballing? Is there anything that you like? Any place that you're going to focus or watch a little bit of?
Well, I'm definitely going to be watching Tennessee Bowling Green just because I think there's probably a start available that some of these freshmen will get in. I think my son will get in, so that'll be fun to watch. And I may run out to a JUCO game, and we'll see. There's a good JUCO teams around here, so Glendale Community College or uh, maybe Central Arizona if they're around. And then I want to see UCLA get things back on track here. There's too many good players on that team for them to get swept like that. So see how they bounce back from that.
Yeah, agreed. So it's funny that you mentioned that because that's kind of where I'm at this weekend. So I might attend the UCLA Michigan game. If we do, we'll go live Friday night. You and I can touch bases together on that. There is a couple of good games that I want to watch. So Duke is undefeated still. They're 8-0. They do play this weekend, Akron, in at home in North Carolina. But just FYI, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. So next week we'll be talking about this. Duke goes to Wake Forest. So that that'll be a fun game to watch. Fun games to watch. The other undefeated
Definitely.
the other undefeated club that I think is interesting this weekend, and talk about top 25s, right, is Bama. Alabama plays in the Frisco Classic this weekend. This Friday they play Indiana, who's top 25. They play Arizona, and then they play Dallas Baptist. So they got a weekend ahead of them, right? And
Oh,
so,
definitely.
and then because I'm close, there's a JUCO out here that I've followed. I actually attended there. But uh this weekend they play LA Valley. Orange Coast College plays LA Valley, which LA Valley is not that strong of a game. But next week they play Irvine Valley, and Irvine Valley is a decent club. So that'll be a lot of fun. So that's kind of my schedule for this weekend. I'm going to try to catch, like I said, try to catch some Duke action, try to catch some Bama action if I can, and definitely catch the UCLA Michigan game on TV as best as I can. So I might try to get a couple of people together and see if they want to go to UCLA and watch the game.
Yep. And then I'm going to be around town here for 2 weeks, but then I'll be off to Tuscaloosa.
Okay. Well,
I
definitely if
gotta,
you
I
catch
gotta, I gotta mention
go.
one other thing here. This is just came to mind from Arlington. There's two brothers that pitch for Oklahoma, Malachi and Kyson Witherspoon. Both of them are dudes. If you're looking, Oklahoma's got a really good team. They're not ranked yet, but they will be. But two brothers pitching for this team. I swear, when I was watching this game, the one brother Kyson came in. I'm like, wow, this guy's bringing it. He looks good. A day later, Witherspoon comes into the game against us. I'm like, is this coach pitching the same kid back to back? What is going on? And I was a little confused. And then I realized it was his brother. And they look the same. They got the same build. They're both dudes. They both pitch from the right side. Um, they're both transfers from Florida, but watch out for those guys.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Any other honorable mentions? Anything else that we need to mention on this week's show?
No, that was my kind of out of left field one right there. The Witherspoon
Witherspoon boys.
brothers. Nope.
Yeah. Well, I just love being able to baseball's back. And not only is baseball back, but there's always some place to go to catch a game. Always some place to go to catch a game. And you and I, if you're going to end up at a JUCO game this weekend, let me know. We'll go live. If I end up at UCLA, I'll definitely go live and you and I can chat. Be a good time.
Yeah, yeah. And if you do, watch out for the third baseman Cole Caruso on Michigan and
Okay.
Rock Chalowski on you.
There you go. There you go. All right, Dave, I think we did the episode good this week. What do you think?
So far, so good. We're on it. At least we got baseball games to talk about now, and not wishing we had baseball games to talk about.
Exactly. Exactly. June's going to be crazy for us when we're talking World Series or College World Series and MLB stuff all over the place. It's going to be nuts, right?
Yeah, regionals and super regionals and conference tournaments. We got a long way to go for that, but it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you and I are going to need to get out to Knoxville or someplace close where we can hang out and just chat a bit. So,
Yep,
so
sounds good.
all right, my great and good friend. We will talk next week. Thank you, Top Fan Rivalry followers, for listening, and we will talk to you soon.